big game of the weekend. Kevin Burkhardt, Tom Brady are going to be there for Fox. Philadelphia Eagles, Kansas City Chiefs, Super Bowl rematch. And I'm really going to be honed in on the Chiefs on this one. All right. And there's a couple reasons why. I think we know what the Eagles are. I think we have an idea of what the Eagles are. I think based on what we saw in the opener, that Jalen Hurts was really good about balancing, running the ball in certain situations and really taking a chunk out of the Cowboys defense there with some of the scramble things that he did and still running the Eagles offense. I think Philly is going to be just fine. They're going to be there in the end. I'm more interested to see what happens with the Chiefs coming off of that Friday night loss against the Chargers. And there are a couple things in particular I'm going to be looking for. The first is going to be the operation of the offense. No Xavier Worthy, no Rashee Rice. And I think when you watch that game on that Friday night in Brazil against the Chargers, you saw Mahomes scrambling more, and that can be a result of maybe things not working quite right on schedule. Mahomes generally doesn't want to run the ball. That's his history since he got into the league. They've done a good job of managing him that way. And you generally, when Pat scrambles, he's scrambling to try to find outlets in the passing game. And that wasn't as much the case against the Chargers. So what does that look like against an Eagles defense that the Chiefs struggled against last year? I'll be really interested to watch that. And then the line of scrimmage. To me, I think this is a big deal, and in particular, a big deal for the Chiefs' offensive line. Now that they've got that group with Josh Sims, Juwan Taylor struggled a little bit at the right tackle spot. You've got Kingsley Suamataia moving inside to guard. So what does that group look like going up against the Eagles defensive front and against the things that Vic Fangio is going to throw at you? I'm really interested in that. And then, on the other side, if we're talking about the Eagles offensive line versus the Chiefs defensive line, because the Eagles were able to get the upper hand on the Chiefs in the Super Bowl, do we see a little tit for tat there where we're getting a little bit of a better performance out of a group that's led by Chris Jones and George Karlaftis? I'm really interested to see that line of scrimmage battle. So I can't wait for that one.